You're listening to Parenting Our Future. I'm parenting expert Robbin McManne, author of The Yelling Cure and founder of Parenting for Connection. My podcast is all about providing you with the tools and solutions you need in all different areas of your parenting so you can create strong connections with your kids, get all the cooperation you want, and live a life that is full of joy and connection. And by the way, the tools and solutions that you're looking for in your parenting don't just live in each episode of my show, they're also in my free membership site, The Parent Toolbox, where you can access tools created by myself and my brilliant guests that cover everything from helping your kids to sleep, managing meltdowns, reducing overwhelm, to getting your kids to listen the first time, and so much more. Join the Parent Toolbox so you can download and use the tools that are ready on the site, and each week, a brand new tool is added. And of course, the best part is it's absolutely free to join and to stay in. You can go to www.parent-toolbox.com today. Now let's dive into this next episode of Parenting Our Future. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Parenting Our Future. It's Robbin here. And okay, mamas, you got to listen up because we're going to help you live your best life, like for real. I have Sarah Olin here. She's the founder and CEO of LUMO. Just you wait to hear what this amazing woman has to say. LUMO is on a mission to support women in their pursuit and creation of great lives, however they define them. Whoa, is like, do I not have the best guests? I just want to say that. Now, Sarah, who is on the show today, she pours love and humor into her work as she helps mothers create a joyful and fully expressed lives that they want to be living. Connecting women to their purpose and passion is what lights Sarah up. I love it. She's the mother of all motivators and destined to become the motivator of all mothers. I love it. Sarah, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm really excited.
I love it. I feel like you just want to take all the mamas and you just want to bring us all into a big hug and just say, like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. We have got this, right?
For sure. 100%. 100%.
So tell me what LUMO is. Let's just start right there.
Sure. So LUMO was born about 9 years ago, but not quite. LUMO had a very long gestation. So LUMO came from the name Luscious Mother.
Okay.
And when I was a new baby coach, I had all these big aspirations. I wanted to be coaching at the United Nations. We had this really cool opportunity. And I said, I want to be on that team. I wanted a video series. I wanted to make six figures, right? Every entrepreneur's first big milestone is six figures, right?
Yeah.
So I said to my coach at the time, I want these things. And she said, well, who would you need to be in order to create all that in the world? And I thought, and I yelled, Luscious Mother. And it became my moniker. It became the conversation that I was in. I became known as the coach for stressed out moms. And it shortened over the years to LUMO because I've done a lot of work with big organizations, lots of executive coaching, leadership training with women and mothers in organizations. And Luscious is a tough pill for a lot of old school organizations, law firms. They can't be in that. They're not there yet. So you've got to, meet people where they're at. And LUMO is like, oh, LUMO's great.
It almost sounds a little masculine even, right? Like, luscious. It's a tough word. I get it.
People have a really, really strong reaction to it. So I like it for that reason. And I also want to work. So, we do what we do.
It's so true. Okay. And so within LUMO, what is it that you do?
What do I do? What is LUMO?
Yeah, like what is it all about? Yeah, because you're here to inspire and help women live their best lives. So how do you do that?
Yeah, so we do that through a variety of channels. Executive coaching, supporting moms in their struggles, in staying in the workforce, we have a parental caregiver support network where we go into companies and we'll train on a topic like burnout. And then we do these community calls where anyone in the company, any parents in the company can come and get supported. It's fabulous. And then we have the online program for expecting moms. So it takes mom from I'm pregnant and I'd like to stay in the workforce to I'm back at work. And we have over 75 tools and distinctions, videos, audios as a part of this online program. So companies license it or a working mom can buy it straight out, but those are the ways in which we support parents, mothers in the workforce.
That's awesome. That's so great. So great. And so really, truly aligned with the kind of work that I'm doing as well. So it's so great to talk to somebody who's doing the same thing and meeting people where they're at, really. And burnout is a really big deal. It's a really something that a lot of us are facing. And of course, with the last almost 2 years behind us, hardest hit are the parents in this group. So
Robbin, no doubt. And I've got to tell you, we do a lot of research, because we're talking to organizations and they want to understand numbers and how does this affect the bottom line. I'm going to try to find this piece of research because it talks about burnout. I feel like it's 2 in 3 people say they're feeling burnout right now.
Actually, I've done some research too. And if you go across the 3 generations, Gen Z, millennials, and Gen X, over 50% in each category are saying they're burnt out. And when you look at Gen Z and how young they are, and they're already saying they're burnt out, that is a huge red flag. And they're also looking at those of us who are in Gen X and saying, I don't want what you guys have. I don't want the path that you're on where you're working, 10 hours a day. You barely have time for your family and you're stressed all the time and miserable. Right. So those are really real things that we need to address now.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's huge.
And it's costing companies millions and millions of dollars because they're not addressing it.
Absolutely. Well, there is a stat that says 43% of women will leave their careers when home life becomes too complex, whatever that means, right? You've got kids that maybe have some extra needs or special needs, or you just need to drop everything because your child maybe is suicidal or whatever it is, but we're leaving careers, and women in the workforce are vital to, we need those soft skills, right? And I know you talk about why women make great leaders. We negotiate naturally, we can problem solve, we have more empathy, compassion, we are better listeners, so there's a lot that we bring to the table, and we need to be recognized for that too. When you're working with these moms that you work with, what are you seeing is really the biggest problems, the biggest struggles for these moms?
I think it's my answer, changes all the time, Robbin, based on the ebb and flow of what's happening in the world.
Okay.
But I think that right now, I would say the thing that I'm really seeing a lot of is perfectionism coupled with an unwillingness to get supported. So, and the unwillingness is born from the perfectionism. So there's a great lie that we should be able to do it all. We should, right? We've all been sold that bill of goods, like women can do it all. Nobody can do it all. It's a total lie. And people are burning themselves out, making themselves sick, having breakdowns, all these things. And people will often look at it as overwhelm and burnout, which that's a symptom of a larger breakdown, which I believe is lack of boundaries, lack of trust in themselves in the process, and an unwillingness to get the support and ask for what you need.
Yeah. I think I see that as the biggest one. as I just don't want to ask for help. I don't want anyone to know that I'm struggling, when in fact, all of us are. And not even on a regular basis, but there's times where we are struggling, right? And I think what we need to start to do, and I want to offer this and see what you say about it, is that I think what we need to do is we need to start dropping the facade of perfectionism and just say, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm the leader of my company, or I'm the leader of my team, or the leader of my family. And I'm putting my hand up and saying, sometimes I need help. Sometimes I don't know what to do. Sometimes I just can't even do another play date. I can't do Play-Doh tonight. I can't do another family game night where everybody ends up crying or whatever it is, right? Like, I need help. And I think that what happens is that we are programmed from such a young age that, well, you're going to be a mom one day, you're going to be a mommy, here's your baby dollies, right? And then, oh, by the way, you also need to go to university and have a career and all of that stuff. And you put the two together and it's a lot.
Yeah, well, it's all a lot. And, one of the biggest gaps I see too for moms is they're not great at having their needs met.
Mm-hmm.
And right, if I'm having my needs met as a human being, I have a tremendous bandwidth for whatever's happening, right? Crying on game night, I don't want to eat that, whatever is coming up. I have tremendous capacity when my own needs are being met. And I think that's a lot of where the fear and unwillingness comes from too, is that, people are moving so fast, they're trying to do so much, they're not even present to what their needs are. And oftentimes I'll ask my clients, well, what do you need? And they'll say, I honestly don't know. And it's because there's no space to actually, and there's no inquiry either. There's no like, hey, what do I need right now? What do I need right now? And that's one of, coaching has given me, I think, a million billion gifts over the years, but that's got to be one of the biggest, is that I know what my needs are and I am responsible for having my needs met. And I don't expect my kid to do it, or my husband to do it, or my mother-in-law, or my own mom, or my best friend. I know how to do it, which is powerful, which doesn't mean I don't need other people, and it doesn't include other people, but I'm just responsible for it at the end of the day in a great way.
Yeah. When I work with my clients and anybody who will listen, really, truly, what I say is, and I know it's almost cliche, but I say, self-care, taking care of yourself is number one for managing anger in the home, right? I mean, I work with a lot of parents who are frustrated, angry, overwhelmed, all that kind of stuff. And when you don't take care of yourself, it's so true, right? Like, you can't pour from an empty cup. If you have nothing left, sometimes I compare it to, so if you were going to drop your baby off to a daycare person who was overwhelmed, who was grouchy, who was prone to yell and, different things like that. Like, would you? No, right? So why is it okay for you, right? And we've got to drop the guilt, right? And the negative self-talk that we have in our heads too, saying that, oh, no, we don't deserve it. Or I feel bad, I'm leaving my kids. No, it's the best thing you can do for your kids, for your relationship too, right? With your spouse.
It's huge, huge. And, I think, again, having emotions, showing emotions, but we have to be able to encounter ourselves and deal with it again, because, my, a therapist said to me once, and one of my best friends, I remember years ago, I said, oh, I'm so afraid I'm just messing Mirabelle up. And she said, don't worry, you're 100% messing her up. And she said, look, if we were perfect parents, the world would eat our kids alive. right? Like if we were always like, it's great, that's bullshit. It's not always like that, right? So I try to be authentic and responsible with my feelings with my daughter. When I'm sad, I let her know I'm sad. I'm not crying on the floor in inconsolable, but if I'm upset or mad, and it's really funny. She said to me maybe a year ago, and she's 9, so maybe she was 8 or 7, but I said, how you doing, honey? And she said, Mommy, I'm really pissed off right now. Oh, I said, I understand. And I know where you heard that from Mommy. And that's not the best. Mommy will try to be better. You could actually say it better than that. Let me help you find some choices. And Mommy try to do better. But I was like, oh, know where she got that one. And it's, I wasn't mad at her. I wasn't mad at me, but they're going to learn it. I think it's good and healthy with responsibility, right? Where it's not a fire hose, where like there's a difference between being angry and discharging anger all over people.
Right. And what you're doing is you're sort of speaking in the language of feelings and needs as well, right? Which is how we grow emotional intelligence. If we can model it and say, you know what, I'm actually just feeling really off today. I'm feeling agitated. I think that I'm feeling, a little worried about a project that I have that I'm not sure if I'm going to finish it or not. And that's why I'm feeling this way. And so what I really need to do is, X, Y, and Z. If you can, modeling that is really powerful, right? But you're also normalizing emotions. Like, you know what, Mommy is sad right now because Mommy has a friend who isn't feeling good, and it does make me sad. And I'm worried for her, and what I'm doing about it is I'm taking a minute away from work. I'm just thinking about it, and I'm praying for her, and I'm visualizing her in perfect health, all this kind of stuff, right? That's what I'm doing because I'm feeling sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it normalizes it. It gives them permission to have their feelings. And yeah, I love them. I love all the feelings. I just, and it's not 100% game. I do get frustrated with Mirabelle directly.
Yeah, well, of course you do. Yeah.
Right. And, but I, again, feel so fortunate because I have so many tools that I can use to support myself when I'm not feeling great, and a lot of support structures, friends and colleagues. And as a coach, you've got a lot of coach friends, a lot of colleagues, right? So you have places where you can go and get supported.
Well, I think, you don't want to trust a coach that isn't willing to be coached, right? So it's important to have that. I know, same with me. I have coaches that I can go to as well when I'm like, okay, I need to talk this out. I need to talk this out. But here's the thing. There are so many unhappy moms out there right now, and they don't know why they're unhappy, right? There is something missing. And so what is the thing that's missing for these moms?
Oh my gosh. I think
it's got to be one thing.
Yeah, just one thing.
One thing.
I love
that. Let's spend the rest of the interview just listing off the things.
Those things. If I had to say one area to look, I would say sufficient support. Okay. And going beyond box checking, Robbin, because I think, if I look at my own well-being and self-care, I can be good about checking boxes, and sometimes you have to revisit and make sure it's actually sufficient, right? Because if you think about your output as a mom, as a professional, as a working mom, that is some serious output. And if you look at how you're filling yourself, and for most, it's just so far off. So, the monthly massage and all that, great, it's great, fine, yes, or the nails or whatever your thing is, right? but
Right.
it's so much more than that. And I think we've always got to be checking back in on, am I getting the support that I need? What does support look like for this phase, right? Because in the height of COVID, it was, the world looked different than it does today, and it looked different than it did pre-COVID, and it's going to look different in 6 months. And what you need, I would assert, probably shifts day to day, moment to moment. So I don't think we are great about checking in and say, what support do I need now for this part in my journey, for what I'm doing right now?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And so, one thing that came to mind for me when you were talking is also to battle the unhappiness is also about your mindset and your perspective on things too, right?
Everything.
You have to be really,
Robbin, everything, mindset.
Yeah. Right.
100%.
Yes. You've got to be aware of the things that you're telling yourself too. Right. And I think that leads us into this guilt, shame, and comparison piece, right, that you talk about. And so how does that trip us up?
Oh, it's so nasty. It's nasty. Okay. So the guilt, shame, and comparison. I love the way Brene Brown talks about it, but she looks at it: guilt, shame, embarrassment, and humiliation, and the distinctions between those. And basically her big, what she talks about is guilt is I made a mistake, shame is I am a mistake. And it's like, I think for me as a coach working with people around guilt is fine. To me, it's the dashboard light on the car. It's like, hey, something's going on. It's not the real thing. To me, guilt is like the yellow light flashing, there's something, but we've got to go deeper and get underneath what is going on. Like, and what is guilt? I think guilt is a distraction for people from a deeper thing. So I'm always interested in what's underneath it, what's actually causing it, what's out of alignment in your life. So, and what need is not being met, right? But really, like, that integrity or alignment piece, right? Because I think if you're experiencing guilt, there's something that's out of integrity or out of alignment. So if you can get it back in, not that there's something wrong, but if you can get it back in, that's a good thing. That's going to free up energy, that mental real estate, that guilt. Shame it just feels so, shame is so heavy to me. It's deeper. It's almost, when it's chronic or consistent, I think it's a place to look from a therapeutic standpoint, right? Because as coaches, there are things that are outside the scope of the work that we do, right? So consistent shame would be one of those things, because that's really touching deep nerves around self-worth and things like that. In comparison, I think is a bad game that people play. Is a bad game.
Comparison, I love it. Like, comparison is the thief of joy.
Sure.
Right.
But here's the thing, Robbin, is that so many people know it intellectually, but there's no experience in their heart. There's no embodiment of it. And they're still playing that game. They're still the bitch of comparison, if we're being real honest here. I should have asked.
I get caught up. We're good. I get caught doing that too, like, must be nice. I've said it many times on my show, like, must be nice. You can do X, Y, and Z with your family. I'm so happy for you. And I'm not going to like this post. You know what I mean?
I mean, look, we all have our humanity. And I think that's normal and A-okay. And again, where it goes sideways is it chronic? Am I constantly comparing myself? Then you've got to look at it like you're using comparison for something. Again, everybody's always winning the games that they're playing. So if you're constantly in that game, there's a payoff for you, or else you wouldn't be playing it. So you've got to do the work to get to the other side of that. So guilt, okay. Comparison, wacky, and shame. You gotta, everybody has shame from time to time, but if you're experiencing a lot, that would be a red flag for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think that it goes with what we talked about is the mindset, the perspective. And I think we need to question the thoughts that we have, because our thoughts are not facts. And oftentimes we believe in the thought that we have. And I think that when we're in deep shame, we're saying, I'm bad. Well, let's question those thoughts. Is that really true?
Yeah.
Is that true? What would life be like if you didn't have this thought? Right. And, look, there's more to it than that. I know I go through a lot of those beliefs that we have, because whether we like it or not, our brain is so helpful, and it goes in search of proving what we believe to be true to us. So all of a sudden it's like, all I can see is just evidence to support this, wacky thought that I have. Unhelpful thought. Yeah.
Robbin, before I got into coaching, I have a background in teaching meditation and mindfulness, and I did that for many years in New York. And what was so great about meditation was we have like 50,000 thoughts per wink of the eye. And, there's a handful that are in our consciousness, and the rest are getting dumped into our subconscious all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And the awesome thing about meditation that helps as a parent, as a human, is that, the best metaphor is you're sitting on a rock by a river and you're just watching your thoughts go by, just one after another, like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, wow, that's weird. Oh, that one again. So it's like you're constantly just checking it out, and you're more of a scientist and curious than a judge and jury on, is it good, is it bad? I have, and as a parent, some wacky, terrible, I find myself doing wacky, weird thoughts sometimes, like a weird fantasy about my funeral and how great it would be and how upset everyone would be. I'm like, okay, cancel. That's wacky.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like, it's just getting curious and not being too attached or over identifying with the thought. Like, exactly. Oh, if I thought that weird thing, now what? So whatever. It's not that big of a deal.
Look, I'm human too. I have my own limiting beliefs and that sort of thing. And I have started to say, oh, no, that's just my mind. Nope, that's not real. Like, no, I don't need that. And I've also been able to notice sometimes where I remember being really upset about something, and I don't even remember what I was upset about, to be honest. So, right. And then I remember then the stories started to come in. I'm like, no, don't you dare. Like, you get out. Right. Like, yep. I can just be in the sadness, but it's so funny how your mind works. Like, the thoughts never stop. And I think knowing that, accepting that, and like, oh, I don't need to believe that. I say sort of the same thing you do, but I use a train. I don't know why I use a train, but it's literally like a train of thought. And then I say to the clients that I work with, every thought is like a train car, and you have decided to get on a train car that doesn't serve you, that hurts you, that costs you, that is full of shit and abuse. And you are like, nope, I'm going to stay in this train car. I'm going to stay here. But in fact, you can choose to get off the crazy train and get on to another car that is nurturing to you, that is understanding, that says that to be flawed is to be human, and we all are, that to fail it and to feel, to fall flat on our face or whatever it is a shared human experience, right? We're not isolated to this. It's not just us. It's all of us that have experienced
us.
this. Yeah.
All of us.
Makes you feel less alone.
Yeah, I like that. The crazy train. Guns N' Roses had a song about a train, right?
You know, my
I'm
dad
sure
was on
it
the
whatever
railroad.
train Guns N' Roses was on was definitely a crazy train. So I'm just saying.
There is, you're right. There is a crazy train song for
Right?
sure. And yeah, no, you're definitely right. Maybe we'll put it in the show notes or not. I don't know. Now,
I'm a vote yes for that one. If I get a vote, I'm voting yes.
Okay. Well, you have a big vote here. You definitely do. Now, okay, so let me just sort of recap a little bit of what we talked about, because we're going to transition into talking about something different. But really, essentially, what you're saying is that for mamas, listen up. Like, we've got to get our needs met, right? We've got to ask for help and support. You know, we've got to have, you didn't say this necessarily, but we need to have, you know, a strong community too, that we can feel comfortable sharing. Not everybody is the right person to share with your struggles and your, you know, different things like that. But just having support, and then having that mindset and perspective that you aren't alone, that it's okay to make mistakes, that, like, don't worry about screwing your kids up, right? So many people tell me it's too late. No, it's never too late, right? And that there is help out there. There are people like you and I on a daily basis that will not judge you, that will not criticize you, that just want to help you live your best life, right? So, and I know that sounds corny, but that's what we all want. And I think joy is our default setting, not the stress and overwhelm that we're feeling.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's sort of transition to expectations, unspoken expectations. Let's talk a little bit about that. Tell me your thoughts on that.
Well, in my experience, what I see is that all expectations are unspoken, because if by definition, right, expectations are something that live in our minds. Once they're spoken, now it's an agreement, a request, a demand, it's shared. But expectations are a one-sided conversation, right? It's like relationship via mind reading, and 99.9999% of the time they get in the way of relationship, and they lead to upset, frustration, and disappointment. And they're tricky. They're so sneaky, because sometimes we don't even know we have them until they're not met. And, you know, I remember years ago when my daughter was 3 or 4 on the playground, and she was swinging, and I was next to another mom, and Mother's Day was coming up. And I said, "Oh, I can't wait for Mother's Day. I'm going to get a great gift." And she said, "You are? How do you know?" And I said, "Oh yeah, because I tell my husband, you get me a great gift, and here are 10 things that constitute a great gift. It could be any of these 10 things." So, and she was just kind of blown away by that. And I don't know if it's because, you know, I'm in North Carolina, where it's like a little Southern and a little polite, and, you know, you don't tell people to buy you a gift and things like that. But I know that I knew at that time, for that moment in that season, that was really important to me. It was something I wanted. I wanted to be celebrated in a particular way. So instead of having expectations, like my husband should just telepathically know and be able to read my mind, I said, "Hey boy, this is what I want. This is important to me. Make it happen." And then it sets him up to win, and it sets me up to win.
Yeah. And what you just said sort of blew my mind, that you said, "This is the way I want to be celebrated." And that you just said it like that. That is incredible, because you know what? We don't want to say that, but boy, do we ever feel it. I need to be celebrated. I should be celebrated. I want to be celebrated, but I won't say it. I just expect you to know. So thank you for saying that, because damn it, I want to be celebrated for all the hard work I do. I am awesome as a mom. I wasn't always, but I was awesome as a mom. And yeah, celebrate me, please. And I also will celebrate you, because I also appreciate you. And this is, you know, me to my husband, right? It's not all about me. But I love that you like, that is, yeah. And that's really good communication. Just say it.
Well, and Robbin, part of it is celebration is a core value of mine. And even with my team, we celebrate wins and we celebrate each other, and something amazing happens. And I'm like, hey, we just sold, a 6-figure program. We're going to celebrate.
Right.
And all y'all, I don't care if you're in a meeting, stop what you're doing. Mom's getting on the chair and we're going to dance it out. Like, I'm feeling good. Because why else are we doing this? That's the way that I see the world. It's my own lens, right? It's my own perspective or belief system. But I think that, when we have expectations, it never goes the way we want it to go. So I'm an advocate for being intentional, for making requests, for creating agreements. These things are powerful, right? They put you in the driver's seat. Expectations puts you in a passive role where you're waiting for something to happen to you. And I don't like that. I don't like waiting for stuff to happen to me.
Yeah, like just hoping he remembers, just hoping.
Right. But even with anything, Robbin, if I came into this conversation with all these expectations about how you would be or not be, or what you would ask, or the conversation, I would likely end up frustrated or disappointed, versus my intention is to come and connect and share and have a good time with you. Right. And, be authentic. That's the intention, versus having expectations around how it should be.
So there is, okay. So there is a difference, and you've just made me think about this, between intention and expectation, right?
Oh yeah.
Huge.
Polar opposite difference.
Totally. Yeah.
No, intentions are beautiful. They live inside of our greatest commitments, right? It's a vision. Our intentions are, like a vision or a commitment that we have, right? So it becomes, and it's great in relationship because I can bring my intention or what I'm committed to in the relationship versus expecting, I joke with my clients. I'm like, okay, Sarah Olin's masterclass in relationship. It's 1 minute long. In relationship, give what you want to get, right? If I want my husband to pay more attention to me, I pay more attention to him. Give what you want to get. If you want more play, bring more play. If you want more respect, give more respect. Give what you want to get.
I love that. That's just, it really is true. And I know that it can be more complicated than that, because when we don't get our needs met, we have thoughts and feelings about the fact that our needs aren't getting met, and that gets in the way. And, but not having those unspoken expectations are super helpful. And it just so happens that you have the most wonderful toolbox item for us, which is the LUMO Dangerous Expectations Workbook. Hello. Incredible. I've gone through it. Not only is it fun and funny to read, it is thought-provoking and will allow you to say, okay, where do I have expectations and it's not working for me, right? And you give some really great examples of unspoken expectations, but also spoken expectations, right? And how that unfolds in a really positive way, like just to sort of speak your truth. Like, look, this is actually what I need right now. And there's an example in the workbook about a dentist appointment, right? Like, I need you to hold my hand. I need you to tell me when the needle's coming because I don't want to see it. Right. And it's so funny because I've always been brought up to be so polite. I would never say that. Plus being Canadian, I mean, come on, I'm set up for it.
It's a miracle you're here, dear. It's a miracle.
Right. I know. If I ever do speak my mind, I have to apologize afterwards because that's just the way we are. But still, like, to actually say, hold on, doctor, who I'm supposed to, according to my upbringing to, they are above me. not true, and say, actually, this is what I want, and please do this for me, I would never have thought about that. So I think this is going to give so many moms some freedom here, and just to sort of sit in their own voice and their own power too, right? So thank you for this.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's incredible. So this will be in the Parent Toolbox, available for you, and it's parent-toolbox.com. Super easy. It's totally free to be a member, and I hope that you will join us if you haven't already. There are tons of stuff in the toolbox from brilliant guests like Sarah, and it's just a great place to be, to just get help and support and know that you're not alone. So as we sort of wrap up here, I just want to open it up to you. Is there anything, any words of wisdom that you'd like to leave the listeners with?
I'd say add more fun to your life as a mom. It's really, really important. I notice that when I have fun, the ROI on that for my family, for my clients, is huge.
Yeah.
And I think it's a gift we can give ourselves and give others, because when mommy's having fun, everybody's having fun.
Totally. And I think we forget that fun is an option. So thank you for the reminder.
Yeah. And if you're willing, it could be a priority.
Right. We are so serious all the time, aren't we? We're so serious. Like, let's have fun. Your kid doesn't listen to you one time. Why not say, oh yeah, I'm going to tickle it out of you, or I'm going to make you do it. And I'm going to tickle you until you do it. Like,
yeah,
I'm not punishments. It doesn't have, let's be silly.
Yeah. I know when I've lost my sense of humor that I'm in trouble.
Right.
Because, and at work and at home, with my team, with our clients, all the things. So it's a great, develop a sense of humor. If you don't have one, get one, figure it out. Because,
figure it out. I like that. If you don't have
a funny friend, make it happen.
Make it happen. And luckily, there are people like you in this world where people can turn to and find you on social media and all of the things. So where do people find you?
We're on LinkedIn and Instagram, Facebook at LUMO Leadership. Our website is lumoleadership.com. I'm Sarah Olin at LUMO Leadership on Instagram, and I just live for these conversations. I love to talk to women about their careers and, to your point, how to have a great life, because it's possible for every woman.
Wow. Thank you for everything that you're doing. I think that we are all better for having met you and listened to you. So the work that you're doing makes a difference. You and I both know that the work that we are doing, it can change the world. I believe it's in the way we raise our kids. You believe that it is in motherhood and how we are the leaders of our family and therefore the leaders of the world, right? I mean, that's what you and I were talking about before we hit record. And we're both passionate about that. And we got to take care of each other, mamas. Stop judging, stop shaming each other, and start celebrating each other, right? We are all in this. Yeah. Beautiful.
Amen.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, LUMO. Thank you for this talk. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Robbin. You're awesome.
Thank you for listening to this edition of my podcast, Parenting Our Future. I'm parent coach Robbin McManne, and if you're enjoying this podcast, please share it with someone who you think might also need to hear this message. And don't forget to subscribe, and if you like my work, I'd be grateful if you gave me a 5-star rating. For those of you who like my content and want more, visit me at yellingcurebook.com to get your copy of my book and to find other resources to help you. Until next time, I am wishing you and your family peace and connection.